Subscribers to NewOrleans.Football get all of our news, analysis, and extra podcasts every week, access to our live schedule breakdown show and other live streams in the future. So if you're signed up to the site, you're getting this on Wednesday. Everybody else is going to get it on Thursday. It's the best deal on the internet. Use the code NOF to save 20% on your first payment. NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Use the code NOF to save 20% on your first payment. All right, welcome back to another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. We're coming to you from our studio right next door to Matt Bauer's Ford dealership on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. Make sure you check out one of Matt's many dealerships throughout the region. They have all types of different cars, but one thing is consistent: the customer care, the great pricing, and the great car buying experience. So make sure you check them out today if you are in the market for a used or new car. All right, coming up right after the break, we're going to break down the schedule, get into everything you need to know, our key matchups, our predictions for the season, and so much more. So stick around. We'll be right back after this short break. The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. This Father's Day, show your dad you appreciate his unique style with a Breitling watch from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. Make sure you're ready for the day. Father's Day is June 16th. And if not, maybe you just want to treat yourself. Smash that presentation, nail that deal, achieve that goal. Get yourself a Breitling watch from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, 7713 Maple Street, between Adams and Burdett, Uptown. 504-866-5433. Or visit them at friendandcompany.com. Hard Hide Punch Tool Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Punch Tool strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. All right, let's get into the show. All right, we got a football schedule to break down. Things are starting to happen. Season's right around the corner. I'm Nick Underhill here with Mike Triplett and Brandon Thomas. And it's now time for the lead presented by Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. Friend & Company Fine Jewelers is the official jewelers of the New Orleans Saints. Friend & Company is your home for Father's Day. Go and get your dad a great watch from there. They got all kinds of great stuff to choose from. Father's Day is coming up, so make sure you're ready for that. And while you're there, check out their Florida Lead necklace and earrings. The earrings are priced at $1,100, and the necklace is $1,350. Tell them that NOF sent you.
All right, lead topic. What stands out most on the Saints' schedule? The Saints just released their schedule for the 2024 season. What games stand out the most?
I mean, I think it's the beginning. I mean, the beginning stanza is the thing that stands out the most. You got Panthers, Cowboys, Eagles, Falcons, Chiefs, Bucks, Broncos. Like, there's some very winnable games in there. Panthers, obviously, very winnable. Falcons is a winnable game. Bucks is a winnable game. Broncos is a winnable game. But, I mean, there are some daunting tasks within that stretch. Cowboys, Eagles, Chiefs. Like, if they get off to a slow start, the biggest opponent here being the Saints themselves, because they've started every season really slow. I mean, going back to Sean Payton has been an issue. Like, it just kind of feels like they start out slow and then, it takes a little while. The DA teams have finished strong and have kind of, like, limped through the first two-thirds of every season. So, I mean, if they can figure that out, great. If they can't, I mean, you could be staring down a situation where Sean Payton's coming to town and you're in deep waters. So it's going to be interesting to see how they start. But yeah, I mean, that first stanza, I was just kind of looking at it. I was like, damn, like this is like they got to be ready. They got to be ready to go.
And I don't care about history of slow starts. I care about 2024 Saints, and I don't think they've ever needed a fast start more. I mean, we're coming off a season where the fans stopped going to games at the end of last season, and when they did go, they were booing. Like, the players have recently said on social media Tyrann Mathieu came out and defended DA, Demario Davis came out and defended DA, but there's an overall buy-in factor that they need to be winning to be bought in. That's every locker room in the NFL, but certainly one that hasn't made the playoffs 3 years in a row. And so I even said, I think we had a mailbag question a week or two ago, who do you want the Saints to get in week one? I was like, whoever helps them get off to a fast start. Like that to me is the entire season is be 4-2, not 2-4. Don't go through that again. Don't just live under that black cloud again. They went 9-8 last year and it felt like 5-12 because it was just so ugly for so long. I don't think this team can afford that again. And that's what makes this schedule not impossible, but, oh, geez, you'd like to see it set up for a faster start. At Cowboys in week 2 is tough. This offense is still going to be finding its way. They're going to have to go to Micah Parsons. The Eagles in week 3, they finished bad last season, but that's Vic Fangio now running that defense. It's going to be hard to find their way. I also hate the other thing I always look at on a schedule. You don't know for sure how good the teams are going to be, but you don't want Monday night road games because then you get home in the middle of the night, Tuesday morning, and the next thing you know, it's 5 days away from your next game. They got 2 Monday night road games here at Chiefs, so they get 5 days to prepare for the Bucs at home, which will be a huge game, and then at Green Bay on December 23rd, which will be cold and it'll be, creating a short week in late December. So I don't love the schedule for the Saints at all. I mean, it's not going to drastically change my opinion of what they're able to do this season, but all those little things you're looking for didn't go their way, I don't think.
Yeah, the couple things about the short weeks that I do think are okay, though. I think that playing the Bucs on a short week, I mean, you know them well enough, so the preparation there's probably going to be okay. Like losing a day, you'd rather lose a day against, obviously you'd rather not have it, right? I mean, but if you're going to lose a day, you'd rather lose a game against the Bucs than, I don't know, the Chargers, a team that you don't see every single year and don't know a ton about. And that Packers game, at least coming off it, you're playing the Raiders. Raiders are a winnable game.
Yeah.
The Packers game stood out to me a lot, though, because Monday night or not, you don't want to be going up into the Arctic in a potential like must-win type game if you're trying to chase the playoffs. Like that is a tough place to go in the winter and play if you're the Saints. Like that's going to be
look at their
game.
last two road games in December. The Giants too. Like that's another thing we always look at is any cold weather games. When do you play them? And they play them both in December.
Yeah,
and they got whammy.
They got lucky with that before. One thing I do like about the schedule this year, you get the Rams coming off a bye. Last week they played them on a short week, and in those short weeks there isn't a whole lot of preparation, so it's kind of strength versus strength, and the Rams are obviously a stronger roster, so they kind of just blew the Saints away a little bit in that game. I think given DA coming off a bye, a full week to prepare for him, I think the odds of beating them are improved significantly because if he has time to make up a good game plan for them, I think he can neutralize them. I kind of throw away last year's game looking at that one just because of the circumstances. Like DA with time to prepare, you have a chance to stop any type of passing attack, and he does week after week after week. So I think there's a better chance there at least to win that game.
In general, I like the whole right column, especially the way, shout out to our team here that we got Edwin and Brandon working on these graphics.
DJ.
The way, DJ too. Gosh,
yeah, DJ.
Forgot. How could I forget DJ? But the way this is laid out on the screen, if you're looking at it right now, it is like the hard games on the left, the easy games on the right. There is a stretch from November 10th through December 1st where they don't leave home for 4 weeks. Home game, bye, home game. What a way to get right in the middle of the season. And then at Giants versus Commanders, 2 of the easiest games on the schedule, versus Raiders, 3 of the easiest games on the schedule. Like, if they can survive the first half of the season, they can find their stride in the second half of the season.
Go ahead.
No, you good.
I like going to Chargers. You got to you get some time before that. Like, I don't know how good they're going to be this year, but they have a great quarterback. So, I mean, that gives you a little more time to prepare for that one, too. I like that. And then, Harbaugh's going to probably have that staff doing some new stuff. So, you get a little bit more time to get familiar with the opponent that's kind of maybe a little bit foreign. I don't know how much that matters that late into the season, but, it's kind of something. In road game before the Chiefs, it's Monday night, so you're getting an extra day there, first of all. And then if you're on the road, at least it's just the Falcons. You're back really quick and back to work as fast as possible. I'm super fascinated. That's the one game I want to see, and I like that it's set up there. No, Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because like I was saying before, like he does such a great job like against these teams. I really want to see what they can do against the Chiefs. Again, I don't think it's a game that you expect them to win or anything, but DA does give you like a fighter's chance in some of these games. You give them an extra day, like that extra day could be critical. So that one at least sets up kind of okay. But, I think if you're looking at that first stretch, you got to beat one of the Cowboys, the Chiefs, or the Eagles to have a chance of making the playoffs, I think. I think you have to steal one of them
games. Who else is
games.
in that stretch? The Falcons and the Bucs. And let's be honest, that's who they have to beat.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you can get one of those, I think you have to get one of those to probably get to 9 wins this season.
Right, but, I mean through it all, we're being a little negative here, and check out our write-up on the website. We go into a lot more detail, but the one thing that is a positive is they're still in the NFC South. I think a 10-win team is going to win the division again this year. So you beat the Falcons and you beat the Bucks. Whatever you do in those other games, you're still alive in the division at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, again though, to get to 10, I think you got to steal one of those from one of those good teams. I think you have to have it, and it's a matter of who it's going to be. And I think one of them is winnable. Like I'm going to pick them to win one of those games when we go through it. Like I think they can win one of them. And if you do, and you got your head above water going into the second column of this graphic, which starts with the Falcons game, you have a chance. Like you have a chance because that back half of the schedule is pretty soft. But you could also end up in a situation where if you get into a tailspin, like you could just be in a tailspin that you never recover from. So it's critical to just get off to a decent start. And, that's true for every single season, every single team. Everybody that's doing one of these right now is like, damn, this team has to get off to a good start. I mean, it's true. You do though. And
if you have an easy schedule, then you're saying you have to take advantage. You have to be 5-2.
It's people that were in the locker room last year. Like it was evident that the noise outside was the noise inside at the same time. Like the psyche of the fans was the psyche of the team at one point, and they did manage to find a way out of it. Whereas I don't know that the fan base found the same way out of it, but they did find a way out of it, and they got their season together. But I do think if you tap back into that early on, it might be hard to find that gear for a third season in a row. And that's not saying they can't find it, but I just think having to tap back into it, no, we can figure this out. At some point, it's going to be like, well, this isn't working. And I don't know, there's a risk of getting mired in that and not being able to get out of it. So I really do think specifically to this team, like, I don't think you can be 2-4, 2-5, and find your way back out of it.
And look, very specifically, you can't ignore this on a graphic like this either. Not only is the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks overall a tough stretch, but 10-07 at Chiefs Monday Night Football, 10-13 Bucks, 10-17 Broncos Thursday Night Football. From 10-07 to 10-17, 3 games. 3 games in 11 days. You go from Monday in Kansas City to a Sunday game to a Thursday game. That's and then you don't really get a break. It's not like a bye is coming after. That's a brutal stretch to get through.
One thing I do like. I think if you're, I guess the Broncos are a little bit different on that side of the ball. Well, it's similar though. I mean, the one thing I do like though is like there's some inherent familiarity I think between the Saints and the Broncos and the things they're going to do. And I think on a short week, like there's more familiarity the Saints as far as knowing what the Broncos are going to do than what the Broncos having that familiarity with the Saints because there's the new staff and everything. So if you're kind of going strength on strength, short week, I
love being the okay. So I said I am skewing negative. I said I hate being the road team on Monday Night Football. You love being the home team on Thursday Night Football.
It helps, but I don't even give a damn. Like I think the Saints have like on a short week, and look, Sean could come in here and blow the doors off. Like it's definitely possible, but like just as a handicapping this game, I feel like the Saints probably know more about the Broncos than the Broncos know about the Saints at this point because you have this whole entire new staff. And granted, Sean knows everything about DA's defense at the same time. So, but you have a rookie quarterback running that against that defense. Like I like it. Like if you're going straight, like familiar on familiar, foreign on foreign, like I kind of like how that stuff lines up for the Saints a little bit. I think it's doable. Like I think if you come out of that Broncos game and you're like 3-4, and I think that's extremely doable. I think you're in a decent position.
But that means you're 2-4 going in, and it becomes a real must win. Yeah.
No, I mean you could win your games before and lose to the Broncos.
Sure.
I think this. I just think if you're 3-4 there coming out of it, but like I don't like being say like a 2-win team coming up to the Broncos and then losing. I think that's where that's where you're kind of in trouble. I do wonder how much the Sean Payton factor even matters in that locker room. There just really aren't that many guys that even played for him anymore. Like there's been a lot of turnover since then. So I don't know, Cam Jordan, there's just Alvin. Like there's been a lot of turnover though. Like a lot of the core players are different, and especially on the offensive side of the ball. Like there just aren't a lot of like Payton acolytes. Like the identity of the offense has changed quite a bit. I think it probably matters more to the coaching staff than it probably does the locker room. I think it probably matters more to us than it does to the coaching staff. So I do think that, it's going to be loud. It's going to be a conversation, but there's a lot of dudes in that locker room that just don't know Sean. And that was one of the things that veterans were talking about last year. Is like, oh, well, they don't know like the way we used to do things. It's all new people. Well, I think in a situation like that, like the noise surrounding that game, I think it does probably help that a lot of these dudes, like it probably matters more to Will Lutz than anybody in the Saints locker room. Like, I think there's just some differences there.
It's unbelievable what the magnitude of that game is going to be for Dennis Allen. Like, and the cachet he carries with the fan base. Like, if he can win past that, it'll be such a hurdle for him to get past, especially if Sean Payton's team is scuffling now. And I mean, I can't imagine a scenario where that is not like his reputation with this fan base can be made or broken so much by one game. It's going to mean a lot.
It shouldn't be, though.
I know.
It shouldn't be.
I know.
Like, I guess the circumstances matter. Like, if you're like 2 wins and you lose out, like, I guess it's, at that point, anything's fair. But if they lose to the Broncos and have like a 9-win season, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it should be a career-defining thing.
It's going to.
It is, though. It is. But I just don't think, I don't think it's necessarily a fair thing. But damn, man, I'm excited to have this schedule. Like, it just, like, sitting here, like, talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like, it
feels
like
good. It's real.
It feels like real football
Yeah,
season.
it feels real.
Yeah, there's real things
real.
to talk about now. Like, this is good. This is good. I'm glad we're here.
What do you think about Panthers in week 1? We never know for sure, but I think arguably the easiest game on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They were a lousy team last year. We don't know that they're going to be any better yet. You'd rather have that. I mean, you'd want that game to pop up on your schedule at any time in theory because it'll be a nice win. Does the week 1 uncertainty make that actually a bad time to have your easiest game? Because weird things happen in week 1?
Yeah. I mean, I guess so, but I'd rather be playing. I'd rather be playing Bryce Young than Dak Prescott in week 1 or Jalen Hurts in week 1 or so. I mean, there's weirdness for everybody. But yeah, I'd rather play the quarterback I feel like I can beat. I think it's a more winnable game, and I think they need one. I think it'd be nice to get like that little gimme in week 1. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a losable game though because it is week 1.
I think I wrote. I mean, it's the biggest must-win game on the schedule. It really is. Like, you can't be 0-1 and blow your home game against the Panthers. It's like nothing else we talked about matters if they're playing behind that 8 ball.
The other thing that stood out to me, it's interesting that you brought up the first Panthers game. That second Panthers game, I mean, say you go through that gauntlet and you come out battered and bruised, that could kind of serve as a tune-up game going into the Falcons because you're going to need that win. But don't play down the competition.
Yeah.
Don't play down the competition.
Is Jameis going to be starting on November 17th?
Maybe.
How many backup quarterbacks did they face last year? Did it end up being like 5? Like, we look at this schedule. It's so funny. I wrote about this too. Like, last year we were talking about how are they going to handle Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson and those mobile quarterbacks, and then they didn't face either one. It's like things change so much on the schedule.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the Saints release video to see, what they cooked up this year.
Yeah, let's watch this thing. I haven't seen it yet. I heard good things about it. I know their last, everybody was freaking out about their Twitter post. They were setting up the video with them. So they made like a really bad post just to kind of get everybody riled up.
Okay.
And I guess the theme of the video, and people watching this have probably already seen it, but I guess the theme of the video is like hiring a new social media intern. So let's see what they got, man.
Let's see what they got.
This is Repo and Repo's kids' Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. So as you know, much like every other professional sports team, we rely on one single intern to do all of our social media accounts. Thankfully, we have a great group of candidates on deck for our virtual interview. Let's get these interviews started, okay? But I'm sorry, but don't you already work here?
I can't have a side hustle?
Hello, Margaret. Margaret, hi. I see you're joining us from outdoors. How's the weather where you are?
Well, it is cloudy, it's warm, it's humid. Temperatures right now near 80 degrees. In the morning, 70s and cloudy, warm.
Okay, and do you have any questions for us?
Just one. Do you guys supply the cognac? Or do I bring my own?
Good question.
Now, you will have a lot of sensitive information. That won't be a
believe they got
problem
on.
now, will it?
They got home. That's crazy.
Not at all.
They got Ian.
They got
Sharing
Ian.
big secrets is not really my thing.
We're seeing a gap in your resume since 2022. I mean, care to explain?
Well, I retired from being
Man's been serving sliders.
of the New Orleans Saints.
I see. So, no substantial experience since your last job?
I'm literally Drew Brees.
This next person has a ton of experience and some really, really exciting references, and I'm thrilled to meet her.
Okay.
So, you ready?
Yes, I'm excited. Oh, God, girl, no, you lying.
Now, would you be able to keep a low profile?
Not a problem. I'm not really a partier. I just love the Saints.
Then can you explain these photos we found of you from last
They're
Mardi
getting all
Gras?
these inside jokes in.
Oh,
Okay.
Speaking of,
Can
way to lean into it.
No.
Well, now, baby, he is chewing that gum. How would you respond to a social media threat?
You mean other than just beat the crap out of him?
What makes you the perfect fit for this role?
I don't know. I feel like people on Twitter just get me.
A very interesting candidate pool. I think we're going to have a tough decision.
I would say so myself. I mean, we're going to be here all night.
Or we could just use AI to generate all the posts from now on and call it a day.
Baby, you ain't saying nothing but a word. Let's get out of here.
But daiquiris on me.
Yes, okay. 5 o'clock somewhere.
All right. That was pretty good, man. That was pretty good.
Taking
They did a
shots
good
at
job
the
on that. Yeah, no, that was good. That was good. Simple, but good. Yeah, that was great.
Mickey and Derek Carr with some self-awareness there. That was the highlight for me.
No
For sure.
doubt. No doubt
For
about
sure.
it.
For sure. I mean, they had a lot of celebrity cameos. We haven't seen anybody else's yet, but right now with the cameos they had in there, the Saints are up there for that. That was a good job. It's now time for our money segment presented by Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union. We've known the Saints opponents for months. We've known it since almost the season was over with, but we haven't really talked too much about the key matchups. Obviously, the reunion with Sean Payton sticks out, and we kind of went through it in our lead topic, but what other games stick out?
I mean, for me, it's just, it's always looking, you kind of get the list of quarterbacks. And, I think the way it kind of starts early in the season is tough, man. Like the key matchups are you got Dak Prescott. Jalen Hurts week 3, I think, is obviously one that stands out, is a potential problem. Kansas City, Mahomes, a potential problem. I don't think you worry about Deshaun. Stafford's a tough quarterback. JD, I think he's going to be an issue with Washington. Got to try to find a way to stop him. If Jordan Love's actually good, like there's another one. Like there's a lot of Justin Herbert, obviously. Like there's a lot of top half. Kirk Cousins. There's a lot of top half of the NFL quarterbacks on this schedule.
Yeah.
So opposite of last year.
Yeah, I mean, you got Daniel Jones. That's like one of the gimmies. But I mean, outside of that, like it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of tough opponents. I mean, they get Bo Nix and we'll see what Bryce Young is, but there's a lot of good quarterbacks on the schedule. Like I don't buy it's the second week.
You only
in
get to
the
buy
NFL.
one ticket. You only get to buy one ticket.
The one key matchup.
Well, you
Can't
putting your
go
money?
Broncos. No, like as a appreciator of the game, an analyst.
Well, I mean, there's one answer.
You
It's
can't.
Mahomes.
No, it's Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Saints at Chiefs.
there's a very good chance he ends up being it's going to be hard to catch Brady, but he has a realistic chance of doing it. I mean, that's the most talented quarterback I've ever watched. Like Brady, one more greatest winner of all time, greatest operator of an offense of all time, but pure talent and everything. Like Mahomes is the best that I have ever watched, and the talent level is just ridiculous. So when you're looking at the schedule, like that's the one that you're like, I am incredibly excited to watch this gentleman play the game of football.
Nah, they were down here for the preseason game last year, on Twitter, the big thing right now is aura. You say, oh man, that person's aura is just, you feel it. Mahomes, he knew he wasn't playing that many snaps, and he ran down the field, and it was kind of like, dang, people were moving out the way. It was like, this cat has aura.
He does have aura.
I'll let you have. I'm going to take a second one after you go though.
I'm going to go a little early and say at the Cowboys. I can't. There's nothing. It's sort of schedule related, but sort of not. I can't wait to see what this Saints offense is, and they're getting tested right away. I mean, like versus the Panthers, they might get off to a good start. You would hope they can get off to a good start. Panthers had a good defense last year. They lost almost all their top defensive players, but they're getting thrown right into the fire against Micah Parsons, one of the better defenses in the league in recent years on the road. There's nothing I want to see more than what the Saints offense looks like. So I'm going early in the schedule, and I'm going their first big test.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to bring it back to Parsons. I mean, I think just given what this team is, like that's the guy that I think if you're looking at it, just given the Saints' weakness versus like the greatest strength, that's the guy that's giving you nightmares. Like, how the hell are you going to block this guy? Like, that is the one guy that I think just kind of absolutely would terrify me.
Don't have to face Aaron Donald this year. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's something. That's something for sure. But yeah, I think Parsons is the one I think you find out really early. And, even kicking it to the preseason, I think just going against the 49ers in those joint practices, like, let's just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that is going to be incredibly interesting. And then, just going up there spending
I'm
a
not
few
buying
days.
it, though. They look too good. They looked too good in the preseason last year. I'm not setting myself up.
Yeah, but I mean, that's something that at least, you kind of figure a couple things out. So that'll be incredibly interesting. Who you got?
Dallas. Dallas outside of Mahomes, Mahomes for many reasons is the premier matchup. But Dallas, I feel like, we did a poll earlier in the offseason that Dallas outside of the NFC South is the Saints' biggest rival. So
I think they'd rank higher than
the Panthers.
too. Maybe higher than the Buccaneers.
Yeah, because Tom Brady is gone. Yeah,
they might be number 2 behind Atlanta in a poll like that.
Yeah, the hatred for Dallas is real. It's for real. It's for real.
But then, like, they see Myles Garrett, they see Max Crosby. Like, there's going to be.
They got real hitters on their schedule.
They have real guys they got to block this year and shaky offensive tackles. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be incredibly interesting.
Yeah, very interested to see what the schedule shakes out to be. We're gonna hit a quick break and we'll give our season predictions coming up next, along with the Martin's question of the day. Keep it locked to NewOrleans.Football.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana. They were founded in 1980 and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. And Total Maintenance wants to show some love to our NOF listeners. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. It will never increase. Total Maintenance has a tune-up special running this summer for $79, down from the normal price of $179. This is a one-time offer for one system only. They also offer a free diagnostic on second opinions on units deemed to be unrepairable, and they offer free estimates for replacements as well as commercial maintenance programs. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000.
Are you tired of renting and ready to own your dream home? Contact Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, your trusted source for home loans. Our competitive rates and flexible terms can help make your home ownership dreams a reality. If you're a first-time home buyer or looking to refinance, our experienced lenders are here to help. Our online application process allows you to apply on your schedule. It's quick, easy, and convenient. Visit us online at jeffersonfinancial.org to learn more. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Martin Wine and Spirits is home to a selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and much, much more. They are family owned and operated since 1946 and specialize in wine, spirits, gourmet food, gift baskets, catering, and tasting events. They have many locations, so they're never too far away. You can check them out in Metairie, New Orleans, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge, or if it's more convenient, you can always shop online. Whether you're a wine novice or a seasoned collector, you'll enjoy the Martin Wine and Spirit experience.
Welcome back to our studio on Veterans Memorial Boulevard. It's now time for our next segment presented by Hard High Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. Let's go through the games one by one and see where the Saints are going to shake out this season. Let's start off with Carolina.
Got me up first? Am I going first here?
Yeah, you're going
Mike
first.
going first. Who's going first? I'm going with
You
the win.
got it.
I'm taking a win. I'm taking a win over Carolina. I like the setup for the Saints coming into that, going against Bryce Young early in the season. I think they're extremely beatable. I don't think they're ready to hit the ground running, so I'm going win.
Yeah. Every season there's the game you aren't supposed to win that you win, the game you're not supposed to lose that you lose. That happens a bunch. This is always an inexact science, but it's the easiest one to pick a win on in the schedule. I mean, how can you not pick win?
Yeah, 2 went with a win. They got a 2-game winning streak against the Panthers. You got a new coach in Dave Canales, so wins across the board. Let's go week 2 against Dallas. Start off, Nick.
So, look, I figured they got to win one of these games against somebody, one of these good teams. I'm going to pick them to steal one. I don't know who it's going to be, but I'm just throwing it here against the Cowboys early in the season. Maybe you have a chance. You're at home. I like the home game. I like the home game better than I like it against the Eagles at home or on the road at the Chiefs. So I'm taking them against the Cowboys here just because I'm going to go optimistic and have them winning one of those games against one of those good teams.
They will schedule a parade 3 days later if they start 2-0, including a win at Dallas. I can't go there with you. I think the Cowboys. Look, the Cowboys' problems come in the postseason. They're a team that I feel like is not a. They're going to be a hit the ground running team, and that's a really tough matchup in week 2 of the season, one of the toughest on the entire schedule. So I think the Saints are going to have to find their footing with an all new offensive staff this year. I do agree with you. They're perfectly capable of stealing a game. That's always possible, but this is just a tough one to pick them in.
Going with a loss, I think Dallas, the Saints haven't played Dallas since 2021, and now they got Dak, Zeke, Michael Parsons.
You went with Zeke as their second number 2 player on that team.
But the reason why I say it is like this. Zeke and Dak, if you watched Hard Knocks like 3 years ago, they broke up, but they had a great relationship, but now they're back. So, I mean, it's week 2. Zeke's legs are going to be fresh while he still has it. He got the 15 on like he did at Old State, so
This is the most ridiculous reasoning I've ever heard. We're going with Zeke. There's a million reasons to pick the Cowboys. You go with Zeke and the Hard Knocks
relationship. I said Michael Parsons, but I feel like Zeke being back in there in his first 2.
You got 15 on.
You got 15 on. You can't stop 15, dog.
You just can't stop Zeke.
I'm rolling with a loss on here. Let's go to week 3.
Look, if they could stop this type of quarterback, the way the Eagles finished last season, it almost makes this feel like a gettable game, but they cannot stop this type of quarterback. So until they prove they can, you cannot pick them against Jalen Hurts.
I don't know what the Eagles are. You're exactly right. They were so beatable at the end of last season. It's too bad the Saints didn't get to play them in the first round of the playoffs and possibly beat them like the Bucs did. So absolutely a winnable game, but I'm still going loss here. Like I said, Vic Fangio is the new defensive coordinator there. That's going to be a big bang early test for the new offensive staff for the Saints.
I'm going with a win.
All right.
I'm going with a win. I think it's early enough to where if they get things clicking,
They got a 34-year-old running back or something on the Eagles?
No, they got Saquon now. They got Saquon now on the Eagles, but I think it's early enough to where if the Saints offense can get things clicking and the defense can just contain Hurts a little bit, they can sneak out with a
I'll give you 2 reasons that I think that it's possible, though, that they could be better against this type of quarterback. One, Willie Gay.
That's what
he's got the range, and that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
And if they can figure out how to get Foskey on the field, he was brought in to be somebody that can chase down these types of quarterbacks with the athleticism. So if he is able to get on the field and play this year, that's 2 guys on this defense that are kind of catered to that type of thing. And then if Chase Young's healthy, you got another guy that's a little bit more mobile off the edge. So it's possible that they are better equipped to deal with this style of quarterback, but we have not seen it. So I'm gonna be pessimistic about it, but it definitely feels gettable if you can figure that out a little bit.
All right, now Saints got to go to Atlanta.
I'm the only one who went win here. I'm sort of going with the Nick theory of I didn't feel like picking loss. I don't think things are going to be that bad for the Saints. This is the one I picked them to win. They're familiar with the Falcons. I don't think home and away even means that much in those games. If they're gonna find a way to outmatch up a team, we've got new coordinators, new coaches in Atlanta too. They're going to be finding their footing too. So out of those matchups, I feel like the Cowboys and the Falcons are going to be teams early in the season that'll hit the ground running. I think the Falcons will still be finding their footing. So I picked the win here.
I think they'll probably split with Atlanta. I think Atlanta's a good team. You got to give a loss one place to win another. I went at loss on the road, win at home. I mean, it's just I think Atlanta's going to be good, and I just think they'll split. So you got to put a loss somewhere.
Yeah, I got the Saints losing one. It's too many unknowns. New people in this rivalry.
We all have them at 2-2 though.
Yeah, it's too many unknowns in terms of Atlanta's strength on their offense and their defense. And You got fresh blood in this rivalry. Like I talked to Raheem Morris at the owners meetings, and he was saying like, "Hey, I wasn't here, but I still don't like him." So we'll see. Kansas City universally across the board.
Yeah, you got to give a loss. You got to give a loss.
No notes, just nah.
Not
just
impossible.
Nah.
Nick was talking about Dennis Allen rising to the challenge. It made me think of the Sunday night game that basically cemented his job when he went in there to Tampa Bay against Brady and won 9-0. He's done it before, but I'm not predicting it.
Neither am I. No, I mean, this is going to be a test on their safety approach too, big time. I think this is a game where it kind of shows up a little bit. It's really the only one where I'm kind of worried about the susceptibility back there, just consistently being tested. But if it's weak, Mahomes is going to find it and tear it apart. But I do think that DA is going to have a great plan, and I think this game probably ends up being more competitive than a lot of people expect.
Okay, let's go Tampa Bay.
I went win here. I mean, again, I think that they're going to do some good things in the division. But again, I think it's a good team, so I got a split. And same theory, just home versus road. I mean, it's just again, like Mike said, it doesn't really matter. I think it's entirely possible they beat the Bucs twice, but I got them splitting, and I got them winning this one.
I hate where it is on the schedule, and that's why I picked the loss here. Like I said, you're at Kansas City on Monday night. Your flight probably lands after midnight Tuesday morning, so you're playing a little catch up. Then you got Sean Payton waiting around the corner in that game that's going to mean so much Thursday, 4 days later. It's a situation in the schedule that I'm picking them to lose even more than the team. But obviously they've had some trouble with the Bucs as of late.
Yeah, I got to win. The way they finished off against the Bucs last year, I mean, Baker's falling back to earth. I think the defense is going to win this game for the Saints. And now, Denver.
Yeah, I got them winning. I mean, I'm not scared of the Broncos. I don't know. Maybe that comes back to haunt me. I mean, look, I'm sure Sean's going to be as motivated as DA is going to be motivated for this one. I think the short week stuff kind of flies out the window because they're going to find a way to prepare. Yeah. They're probably going to start preparing for each other long before this one ever comes up because I think it means something to both of them. But it's Bo Nix. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Or worse. Like I don't like their situation. I don't think they're ready. So I think the Saints are going to be able to beat them, and they better. Like they really better beat them.
I'm with you. Yeah, like there's so much that goes into this game outside of the players on the field. But if you're picking this game based on the players on the field, I think the Broncos are a worse team.
Saints got this. Denver doesn't have a quarterback. If you're not seeing Bo Nix, that means you're seeing Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Not scared of any of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Plus, Sean Payton might get in his own way. He might think, I really have to win this game. And it might cause some people whose heart isn't in it like his on that squad to get into their own way. All right. Now, the Saints are going to go to the Chargers on the West Coast.
Yeah, I got them winning this game. I mean, I just don't think that the Chargers have like a great roster. They got rid of a lot of people. I think they're kind of in a resetting mode. I think Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. I just don't know that he's all the way what Twitter says he is. So I think it's a winnable game. Like he doesn't scare me the way Mahomes scares me. Like sure. I don't see it like that. I think he's great. I think some of that safety stuff I was talking about spills over, but it feels like the Chargers are kind of in a rebuilding mode. I mean, this isn't a great team, so they should be able to beat them.
No more Keenan Allen, no more Mike Williams,
and you got extra time, to prepare for it. Yeah.
No, look, I don't think the Chargers themselves are an unbeatable team. If this said Chargers at Saints, I probably would have picked the Saints. But this is without having done the research. This is just anecdotally over time. I just don't like the opponent you only see every 4 years going on the road to a place you haven't played much.
Practicing with them in that though.
That's true. That's true. But it's not an environment I like. Just like I think the first one that pops to my mind, and I'm sure they've had more West Coast trips. They went to Vegas a couple years ago, and just got smoked. Like it's just every once in a while it's not their element, and I just I think they're going to be we'll see what I get to at the end. But if you're an around 500 team, these are the kind of games that I think give them some trouble. So.
I got them at a loss. I couldn't put this team on a 3-game win streak. I think, just based on history with DA and everything like that. Plus, Herbert and Harbaugh, that combination together, we haven't seen them. Derek Carr is 9-9 against the Chargers in his career.
I do got him on a 3-game win streak.
You do?
It's about to continue to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I would have gave them a win here, it would have been 5 straight. And I couldn't have did that.
Yeah, it's about to continue. When I'm guessing we're win across the board week 9 against the Panthers. Everybody got them again. Yeah.
And now Atlanta in the Dome.
I should have flipped my Atlanta games.
I flipped my Atlanta games.
Because I got them winning. I got them winning way too many games in a row here. Definitely do. I mean, so one of these is going to end up being a loss. But I mean, on paper, they should be able to beat a lot of these teams. So I got to win against the Falcons here because this one is at home.
Did we all end up splitting with the Falcons, or did you have a win in both Falcons games?
No, I had a split.
We all ended up splitting with the Falcons.
Yeah, you can't give them the season series, but I say win. I think, if it has to be a get-back game, then this will be a good opportunity to have that get-back game against the Falcons.
Yeah, I went loss here almost solely because I went win in the other one, and I was like, I can't have them sweeping the Falcons. I think they're too even for that.
For sure. All right, the Dogs coming to town, Cleveland.
I went loss here. I mean, I think Cleveland might be a tough out. Like, they might be a tough out. I mean, definitely a winnable game. And again, like, this was kind of one where I needed to place a loss, and I probably should have placed one somewhere else and maybe gave them a win here. But yeah, they're a tough team, and they might even end up being. They might be better if Jameis is their starter by this point.
Well, they were really good last year until they ran out of gas finally in the playoffs. But they're a team that wins at both lines of scrimmages, and those are our two biggest concerns for the Saints. I picked a Saints win here, but it is not a matchup that you love for them. But this time of year, being at home, I feel like the Saints might find their footing a little bit right now. I was ready to give them a win, but I don't love this matchup.
No, I got them losing. I don't think the defense can contain Nick Chubb. If Deshaun Watson is playing and he can be a sliver of what he was back in 2018, then it'll be even worse. And if Jameis is playing, you don't want to be on the receiving end of like that play in Minnesota where he can just do anything. Yeah. And he has Jerry Jeudy, he has Amari Cooper, he has different weapons where it's kind of like, hey, some noise might be able to be made.
Their strengths kind of target what we know to be the Saints' weaknesses right now. Fair. And again, if they address them, sure, it's a better matchup. But it's one that gives me a little bit of pause, at least on paper.
After having gone against Myles Garrett, getting a bye week isn't bad. So I think Derek Carr is going to get a chance to recharge his batteries. And
we didn't talk about this earlier. You guys like a week 12 bye?
Yeah, I like it better than a week 6 bye or whatever. Like they've had some early buys. I kind of like it. I do kind of like it here. And I like where it sits. I like that it sits before a tough game. Like, it gives them more time to prepare against a team that I think they're going to need more time to prepare against, and it gives you a better chance of beating the Rams. And they might have to beat the Rams. So, yeah, I like it. I like Week 12. I'm kind of a fan of the later bye, like in general, especially if you're a team that's good enough to like kind of make a run for the playoffs. Like, it gives you that little bit of time later in the season to kind of get right a little bit. So yeah, I do like it.
You made a compelling argument that DA will be a lot better prepared with 14 days instead of 4 days to prepare for the Rams, but I still can't shake that drubbing out of my mind. I mean, they looked like they couldn't come within 30 points of that team last year, and the Rams still scare me. I think they're one of the better teams in the league. I really do.
Yeah, definitely cannot pick them. I mean, there's reasons to think that this is possible, but just because it's possible, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. I think it'll be a more competitive game, but I can't put my name next to a predicted win on this one.
Nah, I got them coming out there sluggish and underestimating the talent level of the Rams because, Aaron Donald's gone and some of their playmakers are gone. All right, New York Giants.
They better not underestimate
they shouldn't. What happened last year. Definitely shouldn't. At New York Giants in the Big Apple. Well, Jersey, but
we're underestimating the Giants here. We all went win across the board.
They don't have a quarterback. I'm not worried about the Giants. Nah.
Yeah. Daniel Jones probably he probably went from so overrated that he's probably underrated now, but he's still not a strength.
Yeah. JD5 coming to town. What do you think?
Yeah. I went loss here. Just it's the quarterback matchup, and you got to play some losses somewhere. If I'm not giving them some, quickly you end up having 10 wins on your sheet, and I'm not predicting them to be a 10-win team. So I'm going loss here just because I don't like the quarterback matchup. And as we were saying it leading up, like I would have liked this game better earlier in the season. I think this is one that they probably can win and probably should win, but you got to place them a couple spots, and until you prove it to me that you can stop this type of player. It's just kind of one of those things that I can't do.
Yeah, I'm about to give them they were ready for another loss in a couple weeks, but maybe this would have been the better place to do it because of Jaden Daniels coming into the Dome. Who knows what the Saints will be? We talked about Sean Payton coming in early. If Jaden Daniels had come into the Dome in week 15 last season, there would have been a lot of people in that dome cheering for him. So the Saints need to make sure they've got their fan base behind them by then this time.
I got them losing. I think between Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels, that combination, the staunch defense with a mobile quarterback, I don't know if they're going to be able to get their legs on them and really make some plays down the stretch. Green Bay, at Green Bay, Monday Night Football, late. So late, cold, snowy, just hurting.
Yeah, I'm going loss. I mean, you're flying up there. That's tough. That's a tough atmosphere. We saw last year that this is a beatable team, and it's a team that I think they again, another game that I think they can win. But just circumstances going up there, it's just not one that I feel comfortable saying that they're going to be able to win. But look, if they finish the season as they've finished the last 2 seasons, they should be world beaters by week 16. So,
remember 2 years ago, was it week 17? They had a game at the Eagles. We probably would have said lost, and they won that. They found a way late in the seasons. This is not an unbeatable team, but obviously it's one of the toughest matchups on the schedule, especially when you choose time and place and put it on there.
Yeah, Vegas coming to town, 12:00 noon game.
I'm going win.
Yeah, this is where I went they were due for another loss. Like I said, maybe I could have picked Commanders for that, but again, I'm being predictable here. I'm going with the short week loss. I think that's a hangover that teams fall into sometimes when they're flying back from a Monday night game.
That Antonio Pierce energy could probably lift the Raiders up, but I think them not having a quarterback, the Saints are going to win that game.
I mean, Crosby's a problem in this game potentially. Yeah. I mean, that could be a game wrecker for sure. And you got
Derek Carr going against a team that knows him well.
Yeah, going against the matchup. So yeah.
And let's finish it off with either on the 4th or the 5th, Tampa Bay.
Just the split going loss. That's it.
Just a split, go and win. That's it.
I'm going loss because why not? Why not? I mean, towards the end of the season, that's probably going to be a very meaningful game. And I think, I don't know.
We just saw them win this game last year, though. The Buccaneers could have clinched it when they went in there, and the Saints kept hope alive by beating them and then needing some scenarios to play out. It's not an opponent that look the Buccaneers have won this division 3 years in a row, but it's not because the Saints can't beat them.
All right, so overall, Nick, you have the Saints finishing at 9-8, and Mike and I both have them finishing at 8-9.
A lot of splits. So many splits the pants might rip.
Come on, man.
Throw your questions in the chat, guys. You're watching this live right now. We're gonna have our little overtime segment afterwards. So if you're watching, throw your comments in the chat, and we'll get to them after the show for the members only on NewOrleans.Football, and that'll also go into your members only feed. Make sure you get that set up, and it'll flow right in your podcast player.
It's funny. We did this exercise last year, and I think I raised my prediction as we went game by game, and I was like, I just can't find the losses. This year, it played out pretty exact. Like I had 8-9 in my mind for months. When I saw the schedule, I stuck with 8-9, and then when I went and won losses, it added up to 8-9. Like I've just got a lot of conviction that's how I feel about the Saints right now until they show us something different.
I'm not gonna lie, I was actually at 10 and I took one away. Like just kind of going through it. Like they should beat them. And I mean, there's a few on there where it's like I gave them one to the Commanders where it was just like but I guess like I'm gonna flip that to a loss just because like they aren't gonna like I'm not comfortable going to 10. And there's just always weird stuff. Like there's the logical.
Of course,
they should be able to beat this team. And in the NFL, like. There's a lot of games that are really coin flips, and that's just the kind of way the way the league is designed. But yeah, I took one away. It was I don't know. I could have got the 8. I think I had that one winning streak. If I would have thrown one in there, I could have got the 8. But I could have easily got to 10. I'm a firm believer, and there's like kind of what you think, and then there's a 2-1 variance both ways. So I could see the Saints overachieving a little bit given the back half of that schedule, and I could also see them. Underachieving very easily as well. Like there's a scenario where they got 1 or 2 wins, going into Denver, and it's tough. Like it's they gotta meet the mission for sure.
Apparently, I made this point poorly the other day and sounded too optimistic when I said it, but there's such thing as a range of outcomes, and you kind of pick the middle. And I see a 10-win team just as much as I see a 6-win team. I see everything goes right, and there is a path to the best they could be as 11. I see everything goes wrong, and they could be a 5. Like I see 5 and 11 is equal. I see 10 and 6 is equal. I see 9 and 7 is equal, and 8 is right in the middle. That's just right in the heart of of all the outcomes, I think.
There was some guy that was in the he was in the YouTube comments saying I'm too pessimistic. Look, I honestly believe I'm more optimistic than like a lot of the fans are right now. I don't think it's as dire as Twitter does. Like I really don't. I think the offensive line is concerning. I don't think that this is a 2-win team though, and that's kind of where the conversation is being had. Like I would be surprised at the end of the season if there's like an obvious like everybody needs to be fired type situation. And I think most people, it really feels like, at least the ones that take the time to comment on things, like it seems like they feel like that's going to be the most likely outcome of the season. And I don't think that it's going to be the end of the year and it's, oh, everybody's got to be fired. I think it's very much going to be like in the middle, and it's going to be like, well, what do they do? I think it's going to very much feel like last year felt like.
They feel this. I think I predict the 4th year in a row. I mean, this team has been even Sean Payton's last year. And that's really hard to sell to the fans. People come up to us all the time, and oh no, this year they're going to turn around. I think they're going to be about the same, but about the same has been 9 wins, 7 wins, 9 wins, and I think they exist in that same space.
So do I.
Those last couple of years easily could have been 10-win seasons, though. You just need things to go the right way, and they don't have a lot of margin for error.
Been burned too many times in the past, and honestly, I had the same wins and losses as Nick, and I really think that Green Bay game, I think it was 2 seasons ago against the Browns, Christmas Eve, they went up there in the cold and they got a win. So it might flip-flop. But, yeah, I think 9-8, 8-9 is the perfect range to be with this team based on what they've shown us. But now it's time for the Martin's question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrel-select bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's, so much more than just wine. E. Flint asks, does Chris Olave need to put on more muscle to reach the next level?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something he's working on. That's something that he's working on himself. It was a process that started last year. I thought he did improve it. It contested catches. Another thing for Chris just kind of hitting the next level, I think, is just being locked in and on the same page with his quarterback. That was an issue at times last year, and then once he figured it out, you kind of seen him break free of that and kind of hit the ground running. But no doubt about it, he's still someone that can get stronger and more powerful. And another thing that I think that he could probably do better is just look for a little bit more yards after catch opportunity. I think that there's just a little bit of I just don't think that that's necessarily something that's at the forefront of his DNA that I think he could tap into a little bit more. I don't know that he's ever going to be, that's ever going to be the entirety of his game. I don't know if you want it to be the entirety of his game, but there's definitely more room for him to get better in that area as well.
Yeah, it's probably a simplistic way of wording it. Add more muscle. I don't think he just needs to do that, but it's also a mindset. It's a way to use him. I mean, it's just a shame that we think Chris Olave is right on the cusp of being this top tier in the NFL, a true wide receiver one, and yet we think the team is lacking more than anything. The go-to guy on 3rd and 6, the red zone target. He only has 9 career touchdowns. Like, it hasn't been part of his game, and I think he needs to show that he can just win against guys more in contested catch situations. We talked about a lot last summer, and we did see improvement in that area, but he still has more to go, I think.
Yeah.
One thing I see with Chris is last year he was given the keys to step up but Mike was still there. And then when Mike's injuries and stuff piling on, he just had to be the guy. And now this year Mike isn't on the roster. So he's outright the guy, just period. No thoughts about the other guy, nothing. He's the guy, period. And you look at people around his same size range. Terry McLaurin went to Ohio State together. Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's somebody who's been working out since they were a kid. If you ever see the story on him and his regimen.
His brother's here now. Their dad is like Mr. Olympia.
Sure is. Yeah, you're right. But St. Brown right now, he clocks in at 202. McLaurin clocks in at 209. And then Chris is 187. So I think if he could get to that 195 range, get up there.
It'd be a significant difference.
Yeah, be up there and make things happen. I think that'll be a difference.
Yep.
Well, for our live viewers, we appreciate y'all for tapping in for the live schedule release reaction. Y'all are here because the contributions that you continue to make to NewOrleans.Football, and we really appreciate y'all for that. And for those who aren't signed up, you're missing out on events like this whenever big top things happen in the NFL. So keep it locked right here. If you're a member for overtime, and if you're not, what are you doing? Sign up. NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. Catch you next time.